Hi there, let's look at the key factors affecting labour supply to particular industries and occupations. The labour supply is the number of hours that people are willing and able to work at a given wage rate. And normally, the labour supply curve to most occupations is upward sloping. We have the wage rate on the y-axis and the level of employment, E, on the x-axis, the quantity axis. So typically it's upward sloping because as wages rise, people are attracted to work in a particular occupation or industry by the incentive of higher rewards. Of course, the key to which people will enter a labour market, given the wage goes up, is determined by the elasticity of labour supply. We'll look at that in a separate topic video. Notice that in some occupations there could be a minimum wage or minimum pay rate at which people are willing to work. Some economists call that the reservation wage. So the degree to which that starts high up on the y-axis determines the starting rate at which people are prepared to work in a given occupation. Now, there are many factors which affect the labour supply to a particular occupation or a particular industry. Clearly, the real wage on offer in the industry itself is important. That's the wage adjusted for inflation. And also people look at the opportunities for extra pay, be it perhaps the potential for overtime, some productivity related pay schemes, perhaps some share options, other financial inducements that could attract people into a job. People may also look, if they're rational, at the wages and salaries in substitute occupations. So, for example, an increase in the average earnings for plumbers and skilled electricians might cause people to switch their jobs. And some people do look at relative pay when deciding what's a likely career. Labour supply can clearly be affected by barriers to entry. So there could be, for example, a minimum entry requirement, perhaps a graduate-only job, which can limit the industry's labour supply. There might be some professional exam hurdles to get over before you're fully qualified, for example, in accountancy, in medicine and in law. So artificial barriers to entry can restrict the active labour supply, and as a result they can drive wages higher. Another factor affecting labour supply is the extent to which the labour force is occupationally mobile. So if people have flexible skills, flexible experience and aptitudes, and if their human capital is boosted by effective high quality internships and apprenticeships, other forms of work experience, then labour mobility can increase, and that increases the potential pool of workers into a given job. And we also think about some of the non-monetary or the non-wage characteristics of certain jobs. Some require, some jobs have, if you like, a non-wage risk factor. So the inherent safety risk required, or perhaps the need or the requirement to work regular antisocial hours. Equally, there could be some non-wage benefits of a particular job, so job security, holidays, working conditions, the chance for a clearly defined career path, the opportunity to live and work overseas, the quality of the in-work training and mentoring provided by the employer, and crucially, the opportunity to get involved in an occupational pension scheme, which in particular in the public sector has been in the past quite a significant inducement. So labour supply is affected by, if you like, the non-pecuniary or non-monetary characteristics. And we know, finally, in point 7 there, that labour supply to particular jobs is influenced by the level of net inward or net outward migration from a country. So, for example, in the UK, in recent times, we've had quite strong net inward migration that has effectively increased the available labour supply in many markets, in particular in farming, in caring and catering, and people working in the National Health Service. How do we show a little bit of analysis? Well, our labour supply curve is normally upward sloping. One or two circumstances where it's not, but we'll cover those in a separate video. But if we show, for example, the impact of migration, people coming in, then that would cause the labour supply curve to shift out to the right. For a given wage rate W1, there is now more people available and willing to work. Here's the figures for net migration into the UK labour market up to the third quarter of 2015. the purple line shows people coming in, immigration in thousands, and the blue line shows people leaving, emigration. Of course, net migration is just the difference between immigration and emigration. And I suppose the key takeaway point from this is that the level of net inward migration in the second and third quarters of 2015 was at a record high, somewhere around 300,000 people coming in on that basis. And significant economic development, which of course has political as well as social consequences as well. If you track the number of EU nationals, 28 countries inside the European Union, of course, Britain part of the single market. If you track the number of people from the EU working in the UK and non-EU workers, you can see that there's been a significant rise in the number of EU nationals working in the UK, particularly since 2011, although there's been a trend increase. Actually, the number of non-EU nationals has been fairly flat, if not falling, partly because of a tightening of immigration rules in the UK. But in total, we have over 3 million EU and non-EU nationals working in the UK, a significant level of extra labour supply, and affects different markets, of course. UK government has a range of policies designed to try and improve work incentives. One of the aims of supply side policies is to increase the active labour supply. So they have increased the income tax personal allowance to £11,000. I think it raises a bit further, even to £11,600 in 2017. They've increased the higher rate income tax threshold. Crucially, they've increased the amount of free childcare for 3 and 4 year olds from 2017. Although, of course, the key issue is whether there is enough supply of people working in the childcare sector. And George Osborne has rebranded the minimum wage, increasing it to £7.20 in 2016. So quite a few government policies there to use in your exams, designed to improve work incentives and also, of course, to expand the labour supply. Many businesses, though, still complain that they can't get hold of the skilled workers. Surveys of shortages of highly skilled employees as a factor holding back expansion. And this is a good example. It's a survey of jobs that are hard to fill in the UK video games industry. And you can see that that's quite a significant shortage of coders, including network programmers there. And that's really links into elasticity of labour supply, which we'll cover in a separate topic video. But for now, these are some of the key factors affecting labour supply.